this place?
Somewhere long forgotten by everyone. No one comes here anymore, nor does anyone care about what once happened here. It was before I became a harbinger, and...
You were the one that killed Clairvy?
Patience now. Allow me to explain Clairvy's side of the story first. I'll start from the beginning. Clairvy was 6 years old when she was brought by her mother to live in the House of the Hearth. From the outside, it seemed like a fairy tale. A thriving family made up of kind adults and friendly children. Crucibina was the knave at that time, and the House of the Hearth was under her control. She was Clairvy's mother by blood, but she was also the mother to all the children in the house. Clairvy was happy here, for a time. But she quickly realized that being part of this family wasn't a fairy tale at all. It was a kind of purgatory.
purgatory?
Exactly. The House of the Hearth takes in war orphans from all over Teyvat. But as for how to raise them, that depends entirely on the person in charge. Crucibina came up with a novel idea. She would teach the children to fight, force them to duel each other, and then crown as the king of the house the child who proved themselves most worthy of inheriting her title. It's difficult to estimate the number of children who died or were maimed in the process. There's little I can say about the ones who died. The ones that emerged with permanent injuries, on the other hand, well, they still served a purpose. They would be handed over to the doctor to be experimented on, or sent away on dangerous missions. Nothing more than tools to be used and then discarded.
So those were the experiments Clairvy was You said that Clairvy was Crucibina's daughter, so if Clairvy tried—
Despite being Clairvy's mother, Crucibina cared little for her daughter. She forced Clairvy to join the House of the Hearth only as a means to demonstrate her own impartiality as a mother, to prove that she treated all her children equally. Clairvy did try to convince her mother to change her ways, but it was to no avail. After her efforts failed, the only other option was to run. Of course, there was one exception. Someone Clairvy...
Wait! The friend that...
Friend, huh? Clairvy was a cheerful and passionate person with a tenacious spirit. Peruere, on the other hand, was... Her cold-blooded nature allowed her to see through Crucibina's facade. Yet, despite their differences, the two became fast friends, united by their knowledge of the truth. Clairvy told Peruere that she hoped to create a real family, where no one would be killed or sacrificed. There may have been a certain naivete to her ideas, but Clairvy proved her determination many times over. Even with her body racked with pain, she would still stand on her tiptoes and open the window.
Oh no.
Her hopelessness resulted from a culmination of things. 10 years had passed. 10 years worth of failure after failure. She and Peruere weren't children anymore, but finding any chance to escape still seemed as hopeless as ever. It was during this time that Peruere suggested a new plan. If escaping was out of the question, why not take down the very person sitting? Clairvy rejected that proposal. She claimed that, as a famous harbinger, Crucibina possessed an... Clairvy never gave another reason, but Peruere could see it written all over her face. Clairvy still thought of Crucibina as her mother. Killing her own flesh and blood was a line she couldn't bring herself to cross. If she couldn't escape and fight back, then only one option remained. Precisely. Death. It happened during a duel. When she arrived at the dueling ring that day, her partner turned out to be none other than Peruere. The very person that had stood by her side all those years. It was a fierce battle. But ultimately, Clairvy decided from that moment on, Peruere's journey was one written in flames. When the rain finally came and washed it all away, there she stood, the sole victor in... It was the very result she had predicted 10 years prior. Even she was unsettled. And there was only one thing that could quell that sensation. Perhaps you'd...
Crucibini?
Correct. This is the place where Peruere killed her best friend. A mere year later, this is also the place where she... The moment she acted, any conception of what was right or wrong ceased. Peruere won the battle. And became a heart...
So the Perry Clairvy was talking about... It was you all along. Your Peru...
I left that name behind long ago. After I defeated Crucibina, the moniker of Mother died with her. I chose to forego the title she called herself, and even chose to give up my own name. I rebuilt the House of the Hearth, and that is where the story ends.
Yeah. Based on what you just told us, Clairvy wasn't a little kid when she was killed. So the
I suppose you could call her an illusion born of flame. Her existence... You see, of course, the chances of those shadows morphing into a sentient... Clairvy died when she was 16 years old. But what emerged from the flames was her 6-year-old self. Her appearance wasn't the... Memory is a mysterious thing indeed.
No wonder Paimon got such a weird feeling.
Perhaps I should put it this way. Clairvy is someone trapped in...
So if all of that is...
Indeed. She's a rather volatile and unstable entity. Sometimes she would look after the children. She's even saved some of their lives. But other times, she would hide from me and become obsessed with revealing the truth about the house to anyone who will listen. Shadows don't have the capacity to learn or grow. Any new information they encounter is quickly forgotten over time. Your attempts to expose Clairvy to sunlight, they failed, yes? The reason is actually quite simple. In Clairvy's mind, the house is impossible to escape. and it is this very perception that traps her there. But no matter. All I have to do is kill her again, and all will be resolved.
Wait! Paimon can understand why you might want her gone, but so what if she's trapped in her 6-year-old self? She's still your friend!
It's too late for that. She broke the rules, and now she must be punished. I hope you understand the difference.
Is this really what you want to do?
Whatever could you mean?
Don't you want to say a proper goodbye at least?
Whether as a killer or as a father, there are two things that must be avoided at all costs. Anger. Anger makes you impulsive. Sorrow causes you to waver. Well, it appears it's about... I do believe I've kept my end of the deal. I gave...
Here they are, Father.
Oh, you gonna execute him? See, Lenny!
I'm sorry. I heard it, but I still failed. I couldn't find a way to fulfill...
Huh? Are you...
Indeed, it's been a while, Clairvy.
Hillary!
Shh. Stay right there. I'm sorry to postpone our reunion, but first I believe certain scores need settling.
Father!
Out of my way.
Father!
You chose to conceal a threat to the house. And for that. Overall, however...
By traitors?
Father, let me explain. We didn't mean to...
Faults.
Yes, Father. Secret midnight meeting number 3. Nantoi clearly said. Sato added. Filial was the worst of them all.
I did not! You're lying!
It's not like I'm the only one who heard those things. After we're birds locked in a cage.
You little... You just want me gone, don't you? What did I ever do to you, huh? And you, Sheplo? Have you forgotten who stood by your sickbed, watched over you, and changed...
You're wrong, Filial. We don't want you to die.
Liar. You wouldn't be doing...
We all live in the House of the Hearth. A single betrayal can cost dozens of... That's why the House of the Hearth cannot tolerate any form of...
You've been spying on us?
Filial, I owe you both my life. I owe Claire... If this were any other situation...
Why?
That's enough, Filial. We made a mistake. I'm sorry, Sheplo. We...
Chapleau, according to the rules of the House of the...
All those who betray the...
And so it shall be.
Father! Please, wait!
Something you want to say, Linny?
Please, reconsider, Father. We all come from broken families, but the truth is... None of us know what a real home should... I'm not saying I... So please, Father...
I agree with Linny.
Father, please. Linny. I also agree with Linny.
An order, once given, cannot... However...
Our weapon?
Father, are you referring to a duel?
Precisely. The rule, however... Resolving disputes with a duel is also one of our rules, one that also applies to me. Demonstrate a sufficient showing of strength.
Impossible. Did you hear that, Traveler? Lenny and the others have to duel the knave. If they lose, those people from the house are really gonna be...
Don't you want to say a...
Anger makes you impulsive. Sorrow.
Looking at that expression on her face, she seems really serious about this.
When guests are around, families are often on their best behavior.
When the time comes, make the choice that you deem most appropriate in the situation, and lend your help to the...
What's wrong? Traveler? Hey, where are you going?
Traveler?
You're asking to join the duel against the knave?
I'll allow it. We do have a ready-made dueling... All I would advise is this. Keep a firm grasp on your weapon, and give it your all. Any less, and you may just lose your life. Spare your energy. Running is of little use.
Watch out for Father's movement!
With these rising flames... Closer now. Spare your energy.
Hang in there.
Running is of little use. With these rising flames... What pitiful attacks! I thought I taught you better.
Getting
Now
here!
that's more like
A round of applause! Watch out for Father's movement!
With the fall of darkness, destruction shall rise. Have a taste of purgatory.
Covenant of the Deep! Excuse my mistakes. Hang in there.
Who's next?
The Temple of Ursa. Commit it to memory.
I really have to draw my blade. Sounds like a bunch of hell.
Let my name echoing song. Shower new praise.
Is it my turn now? Here comes the finale. Look. Sounds like a bunch of hell.
Father's even stronger than I expected.
A fly tangled in a web. Spare your energy. Running is of little use. With these rising flames... Not bad. You've proven to be a worthy opponent.
Getting here!
Magic...
Make yourself a home.
Spare your energy. Running is of little use.
Now's our chance.
Over here.
And voila! Watch out for Father's movement! Look out!
Made manifest.
Hold the line.
Now disappear! A round of applause! Now's our chance!
Over here.
Moon has set. You struggle in vain.
May I
Watch out for Father's movements! Look out!
shower me with praise.
Now's our chance!
Over here.
Sundown is only the beginning.
And voila! Watch out for Father's movements!
You should know better than to crowd in one place.
Oh, I know. No! I'm sorry, Father!
Sorry for what? This pitiful excuse for an attack.
Father, no!
Made it out, did you? You're stronger than I expected.
Crimson Moon. I can't move.
Still, not strong enough to beat me. I believe we can end things here. It's not all.
Brother... Lenny...
Given that I am the victor of this duel, as a...
No!
I never thought...
However, everyone involved in the duel demonstrated a remarkable level of strength and determination. In light of this, Elwar, the bottled flames I gave you for safekeeping.
Yes? I wasn't sure what they were for.
Wonderful. Then...
Bottled flames?
Indeed. They're the product of a secret, once ingested. Searing pain will spread across every inch of your body, if you can withstand the pain. When you awake, in other words, administering this... Memory is a...
So, you're just...
You misunderstand. Memories are extremely important. Once consumed by flame, the version of you standing before me will die.
Even so... I'm sorry, Father. I'm sorry I let you down. But I really...
Don't cry. You haven't left the house yet, so there are still rules to be followed, yes? Remember what I taught you. Anger makes you impulsive, sorrow...
Of course.
Dry your tears, and go pursue the life you really...
Yes, Father.
Chaplot, Fultz, Elwar. I prepared 3 extra vials of bottled flames. Goodbye, children. The next... Thank you for all...
Father...
Let's go.
Here, grab my arm, Lenny.
Thank you.
Clairvy.
Can we talk now? You really are Perry, aren't you? Wait, did I somehow travel?
Neither. You died, Clairvy. That's what happened.
You could have at least sugarcoated it a little. Look, she's that speechless.
Huh?
That's it?
Yep. If that's what Perry says happened, then I believe. Plus, I don't really need... Can you tell me about it?
You never stopped trying to defy fate. At first, no one believed you. You could only vent your frustrations to the moon. In fact, you often sought comfort in the night. Later on, you tried to run away, but you were brought back each time. Mother spared your life, but it wasn't out of kindness. Still, you never gave up. Mother hoped that through ruthless duel after ruthless duel, she would be able to... But you called on everyone to unite, to fight to a draw in order to reduce casualties. Your efforts may have only... You tried everything you could think of, but every attempt ended in failure. Still, you never turned your sword on Crucible. For the last 16 years of my life, I've done everything I can to fight for freedom. But now...
I never imagined I would say something like that. I must have been feeling really warm, but somehow, I still think I understand. If I could do it all over again, I still don't think I would make a difference.
Is that so? But as the head of the House of the... It's something I discussed with the youth. Of course, I won't simply...
That's more than enough. That's exactly... You know, Perry, I think I'm really happy that you're the one who took over the house. I guess I do have one regret, though. I still haven't seen the outside world.
Well, it just so happens that our dear guests over here have been to many nations and traveled to countless places.
Really?
Of course! We've traveled all over the place. We've got so many stories, we could probably talk your ears off for 3 days straight.
You know, I playing the lute while that's where if I had some more, it's just too bad Perry doesn't like wearing dresses. And Mother, she probably wouldn't accept some. Those yokai I once saw a drawing of this one guy with. Oh, it sounds like you're talking about an Oni. I was always too afraid to skip at the academia. I'm just. The situation was super dangerous. Lenny and Lynette were accused of Oh no! Don't worry, we were able to turn the situation around. How'd you do that? Come on, tell me!
Shadows don't have the capacity to learn or grow. Any new... Clairvy, you've worked tirelessly from the shadows to overthrow the House of the Hearth. Now, by my authority as the Knave, I shall announce how this matter ends. You are hereby expelled from the House of the Hearth. You are no longer tied to this place, nor are you bound by its rules.
You're saying that I can finally leave? I get to experience the outside world as well? Oh, I almost forgot. There's no good mother for me. Still, seeing who you grew up to be makes me really happy, Parallel. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.
May we meet again someday.
Clairvy. She left so soon. Paimon didn't even get to finish her story.
I also have certain sentiments left unsaid. I wanted to tell her that the aurora I saw in Snezhna, but a shadow's memories reset at dawn. Had we delayed any longer, we wouldn't have had the time. Whatever regrets may linger, let them be.
Father?
It's Linny! Hey, Linny! What is he doing back here? Let's go check it out.
Father, the bottled flames have been...
And you? What?
Thank you for giving us... Lynette and Fremine feel the same way.
I'm sure you're well aware of the expectations I have for you. I want you to follow an... I must admit, I'm rather surprised by your decision to stay. There's nothing wrong with choosing to live a quiet life. Leading this organization is a heavy responsibility, one not so easily carried by someone forced onto the throne.
I just never understood what you saw in me. What made you believe I was deserving of that throne?
You're brave, talented, and, most importantly, you cherish your family. You would do anything to protect them, even if it costs you your life.
Speaking up back there was so brave of you, Linny. It's all thanks to you that we were able to convince Father to back down.
You're a hero, Linny.
Hero?
Father is the real hero. Had Father gone all out during the duel, there's no way I would have walked away with my life. She must have had it all planned from the beginning, from the very moment she suggested a duel. I'm not deserving of that title. I'm not strong enough or smart enough.
You're wrong. In my opinion, all you need to be deserving of the throne is conviction and the necessary strength to act on it. We may have different ideas of what it means to be a family, but you can hardly be said to lack conviction. What you truly lack is strength. For someone of your talent, even without that strength, you still
Father.
No one knows what the future holds, what tragedy or triumph, if reaching a certain strength may decide the ultimate victor, but those who let a lack of strength dictate their decisions or undermine their convictions will never.
I understand, Father.
Children must grow up to surpass their parents. The road ahead is not.
You've done so much for me, Father. Protecting my family.
Then you're welcome to stay. Having members who longed for the light was our organization's last weakness. With those members no longer among our ranks, the House of the at present, our imperative is to use their plan to our advantage. In doing so, a crimson moon shall rise amid the frigid blizzards of winter. No demonstration of loyalty shall go up. As for the two of you, no matter how arduous the journey ahead,
Didn't Linny say that Lynette and Fremine were recovering at the Hotel Bouffe d'été? Oh, Paimon wonders how they're doing. Maybe we should go check on them.
The sun feels almost as hot as those studio lights I'm in front of all the time. Good thing there can only be one sun.
Lynette, Fremine, how are you feeling?
Much better.
Whew,
What about you? Are you feeling alright?
I knew you'd come out unscathed. Oh, and Linny and the other members have left Poisson and returned to the House of the Hearth. According to him, there haven't been any more sightings of a spirit roaming the house.
I see.
I'm glad. Father came to...
Wait, what?
Crucibina died a year after Clairvy. It was during the year, but Crucibina had an extremely cruel and radical... When I joined, though, a couple of months after I joined...
Father took in Lenny and me a couple months after that.
The last time you talked to her, did she mention...
She said she didn't want us to be affected by the darkness of the past. The foundation of a family should be free of any corrupting influence. And that's what Father told us in the end.
But I still thanked her for everything. It was all... If Father hadn't taken over the House of the Hearth, I probably would have already...
Father rarely brings up the fact that she saved us. She doesn't believe, but even if we didn't owe her anything, we may have arguments or times when we feel wronged. Some people may even choose to...
Whether the path before us... So I wanted to say thank you...
Oh, we didn't do anything, really.
Of course. You're welcome anytime.
Are Filio and Nanto.
I actually saw them at a cafe. They didn't recognize me. From what I could tell, they seemed happy.
Monsieur Nervalat?
Welcome to the Fortress of Meripede, dear esteemed guests.
We're back! Oh, and a greeting from none other than the...
This isn't anything new. I figured you had important matters to discuss when... Let's assume we've gone through the pleasantries and cut right... I do remember a thing or two about Domenico. He once attempted to round up the other...
Who does this guy think he is?
He once attempted to, I said. meaning that it was over before it even started. And now he's... To be honest, Domenico doesn't seem like much of a conspirator. The fact that the three of you bothered to personally investigate...
He's got the same concerns we do.
I'm concerned about this incident because something similar has occurred in the past.
That's an easy one.
Oh, did I hear someone say Melazine? What happened? Sijuin! Yeah, and we're investigating. Really?
There's no need to worry. Clarande is protecting her.
Well, that's great. But if the criminal's still...
Ah, head nurse. Do you...
Writhsley.
Okay, I get it. I'll bring Domenico to you.
Think of it as more of a humble request. Thanks for the trouble.
Whoa! If Paimon were the Duke, Paimon would take this chance to ask for something really important.
Well, were I still a criminal, I'd probably ask for a lighter sentence. But I'm sure But enough jokes. I'll look for Domenico and bring him to you. Make yourselves at home. Our dear head nurse has mentioned you quite a few times, so I'm sure...
Please come with me to the infirmary. Ah, and watch your step. There's some pretty dark areas, so make sure you don't trip over anything.
Boring! Isn't there anything else more interesting to do?
Let's just...
Now that I think about it, I can leave this place soon. Huh?
Please rest here for a moment. Oh, and would anyone like anything to drink? Paimon's not that thirsty, but thanks anyway. Thirst is a warning sign that you're dehydrated, which means I'll bring you some tea. Typical Sijuin. Why aren't you two saying anything?
You noticed them too. The badges that...
Familiar. But if both of you say so, let's go ask them about it.
That's not a bad idea.
Anything you need? Oh, this? Are you interested in...
The Mutual Aid Network?
The Beret Society? Oh!
Okay then, what is your name?
We have a very long history. Going back at... We have never had many members throughout our history, nor do we have much of a reputation. Helping each other is our purpose. At the same time, we seek to maintain just deal...
Sounds like a pretty neat organization.
All we want is to defend ourselves. None of us have ever committed serious crimes, and we're not especially powerful either. We're at a natural disadvantage here in the fortress, but people won't give us a hard time.
Interested in joining the mutual aid? If you'd like to learn more... slogan may have evolved over the centuries, but our goal has remained. Here, this book is for you.
You two look kind of It's the symbol of the mutual aid network designed by our first. From what I've heard, it's based on something called a Medal of Peace. I've never seen one of those medals. The first president of our network was an amazing person. Powerful as he was, he never used his strength against anyone. All of us have a lot.
We should have gathered enough information. Let's head back and talk to Neuvillette.
Did you manage to gather any intel?
The people who wore the badges belong to an organization. According to them, the badge's design was inspired.
I personally crafted 2 of them myself. They were awarded. Carol's medal was destroyed in a fire.
Oh, so the network was... Monsieur Neuvillette, His Grace has requested your presence.
All right.
Allow me to introduce this fine gentleman, Dominique. Why don't you explain everything to him?
Neuvillette? What do you want?
Calm down. Was it your idea to... Hassan has already confessed, so there really isn't...
That idiot!
Let me ask this another way. It was...
Yes.
Who is pulling...
What? You're not trying to frame me for something...
It's best if you realize the gravity of your situation. I assume your previous attempt to incite unrest at the fortress of Meripede has something to do with this as well.
I admit I acted on impulse. I'll tell you the truth. But before that, you must ensure my safety.
I can do that.
You see, we're all reasonable people here.
I only intended to do some small business at first. Someone contacted me about delivering some goods and promised me a generous sum of more in return. After making a few trips, I was suddenly approached by the Marechaussee Phantom. They accused me of smuggling prohibited items, and I was put on trial. But I refused to accept any of that. The ignorant can be rightfully absolved from guilt, right? Well, I suspect that someone got me locked up here so they could get their hands on my goods.
And then you decided to take revenge on the Melazines?
My initial target was Neuvillette. Everyone in the fortress of Meripede was declared guilty by him, after all. So they must more or less hold a grudge against them, right? If I could get them to strike back... But for some reason, no one wanted to team up with me. That mutual aid network in particular. What did those nobodies even gain from trying to challenge me? Seriously. In the end, I had to redirect my focus onto Melazines to salvage things. I recall that Kiara was the one who confiscated my goods for inspection, so I asked one of the more approachable guards to send a letter, claiming that I meant to contact my family. But the letter was in fact addressed to Essa. I requested that he write a threat letter to Kiara and force her to resign from the Marechaussee Phantom.
Am I to assume that the claims you've made are your own thoughts? Have you been in contact with any suspicious people recently?
No.
Is it true that all members involved in the smuggling scandal have been caught?
Yes.
Sijween, please take him back to the detention center. I'll deal with him later. So, Monsieur Neuvillette, you were concerned that there might be a shadowy...
Yes. I experienced a similar incident in the past.
And how long ago?
More than 400 years.
You might be overthinking. Time can change a lot of things.
What do you mean?
400 years ago, you and the Melusines you brought to Fontaine were the outliers in society. But in the present day, if someone were to threaten the safety of the Melusines...
That's right! We saw lots of people standing up for Melusines on our way back to the Palais Mermonia.
Monsieur Neuvillette, the Melusines are a species you introduced to Fontaine. How the public treats them is also reflective of their attitude towards you. When people refused to place their trust in Melusines, it was because they were still on the fence about you, their unfamiliar Chief Justice. For almost 500 years, you've conducted every trial with impartiality. You made the right judgment each time, regardless of whatever nonsense went on. People no longer have any reservations about you and even consider you a symbol of the law. Right now, your every decision will impact all of Fontaine. In other words, you've gradually transformed the whole nation.
Paimon gets it now. No wonder no one wanted to join forces with Domenico.
I am undeserving of such high compliments. From my perspective, it isn't anything special or worthy of praise. I'm simply fulfilling the promises I've made and searching for answers through my... It is unnecessary to hold me in such high regard. The complexity of human emotions and willpower...
There's no need to be so modest. You're no longer that outsider you were before. Even if you wished to investigate something on your own, many would take the initiative to lend you a hand.
I must say that you've made a fair point. Thank you for clearing my doubts. Now that the case has been settled, I should get going.
Huh? You're leaving?
And so soon, too? Why not stay for a cup of tea?
Thank you for the offer, but I know how this place works all too well. While some are here to redeem themselves, there will inevitably be those who harbor resentment towards me. The less time I spend here, the better. My presence could very well result in an unwanted disturbance.
In that case, I'll have to insist. I still have 2 more things to say.
Please, go ahead.
The first is about the guard who helped Domenico send that letter.
I know of what you speak. The guard was indeed deployed from the Palais Mermonia's staff. However, as I mentioned earlier, I visited today on personal business. Therefore, I leave that matter in your hands.
Well, that makes things a lot easier. Hey now, don't let your imagination run wild. Those from up there have a tendency to sympathize with others. However, down here, such thoughts will put you at high risk. I'll have a chat with the guard and remind him to take precautions in the future.
I see no issues with that.
Great! That's one thing out of the way. What's the other thing you wanted to say?
The other thing was born from my own sense of curiosity. Now, I've heard that you investigated the mutual aid...
Yep. Neuvillette thought their badges looked...
I noticed the small gang as well when I first took over the fortress of Meripede. They were not great in number, but every member always made... I've looked into their founder, Vautrin, who once stood trial and was... According to existing documentation, Vautrin remained disciplined throughout his imprisonment. He had never once engaged in physical or verbal aggression. In other words, how he presented himself in prison was very different from his behavior in court.
What? During his trial, I could sense that his feelings were complicated. He appeared to be full of resentment, and I believe he had every right to feel that way.
Perhaps he had been putting on an act.
An act?
Neuvillette and Vautrin had a close relationship as superior and subordinate. Vautrin must have known that the Chief Justice would make an impartial judgment. Thus, the more resentment he displayed, the clearer it would be to those present that you were upholding justice. And to those who had been sitting on the fence, Vautrin's act was a very meaningful one. That's all from me. Does anyone else have anything to say? Now's your chance.
I don't have anything to say. Apart from expressing my gratitude, that is. Well then, let us head back. No need to see us off.
Please, take care.
Did Catherine really give us the right address? Not that there's anything wrong with this place, it's just, a bit of a step down from the Palais Mermonia.
You know, it's common courtesy to make sure the homeowner isn't an earshot when you're denigrating their abode.
Okay, when did popping out of thin air become all the rage? First Catherine and now you?
I was just out on a shopping trip. I ran out of macaroni, so I went to grab a few more bags. I used to have a much wider range of choices when it came to food, but now I'm finding that simple, traditional home cooking can be quite delicious too. Not at all. As long as you have different kinds of sauces in, you can have macaroni and tomato sauce one week, macaroni and bolognese the next.
Oh, sounds like you're really struggling to cope.
How rude! Questioning my cooking skills. The audacity! It's not like I have a very eventful life these days. Actually, I barely leave the house. So I don't see how it's unusual that my meals are a little simpler now too. Besides, I'm sure I could master dishes like la lettre faucilor or blubber profiteroles in no time.
Ah, there it is. You don't know how to cook.
Not yet, maybe, but... Anyway, what are you even doing? Let me first be clear that I'm not taking guests at this time. So...
Sorry! We're sorry! Please don't be mad! Yeah, exactly! What the traveler said! Paimon wasn't trying to make fun of you. Hang on a sec, you weren't exactly holding back either.
My help? Well...
Don't worry, it's nothing that serious. It's just very specific, and you're the one with the power to help.
Oh? Well, if that's the case. So tell me, what specifically... I see. I knew you couldn't have... After all, I was once the vet, given the present circumstances.
How come? It sounds...
True. but I have made. Although I am no longer required to play the role of the Hydro Archon, the time I spent inhabiting that character has left. Centuries of pretending to be a different person changes you completely. I'm not the same person I once. Of course, that can't be undone now. It's too. But at least I can say that I no longer desire to.
Paimon can understand, but this is just a.
However, it's a one-off or not. If I make an exception to the rule now, I'm just leaving a back door for myself, which would be the same as not having a boundary, so I'm not going to perform.
Okay, guess there's no convincing you. Well, is there anything else? Do you know any other actors who might be.
Nope.
Short and to the point.
I've never been great at maintaining relationships. Besides, since I'm just an ordinary person now, they'll probably just laugh in my face. True, but I mean, could you even blame them? I show up out of the blue, begging and groveling for their help with a show they won't even get paid for? Ooh, no way. I'm dying from embarrassment.
Well, is there any...
Have I not made myself clear? You're barking... Sorry. I didn't mean for that.
It's all right, Farina. Paimon just wanted to make sure we tried every... Yeah, I guess that's all we can do now. All right, then. We'll see you around for...
Toodaloo to you, too. I'm going home to take a rest now.
It's too bad, but we have to respect Farina's decision. Maybe the thought of performing brings up too many painful...
Any chance you're on the clock, officer?
Nothing good ever. Oh? And who are these two?
So you came too? Allow me to...
The Special Security and Surveillance Patrol?
Well, I wouldn't say everyone on the patrol uses a musket. I just happen to have formed a platoon made up mostly of musketeers.
Whoa, Chiori, Paimon didn't know you went...
It's nothing. In my line of work, it's not uncommon to run into some trouble In return, I've helped her take care of some things that you could say aren't exactly in her purview as the captain of the Special Patrol. And that...
It's nice to meet you both. I have to say, you're right. So, indeed it did. I only ever hear that phrase from you. Usually I'm the one asking... Well, not before I know what your plan...
Have I ever made a bad call?
The better question is, have you ever made one that didn't violate proper procedure?
Okay. A man hired a group of bandits to mug my friend.
Are you sure this is something you should be telling the captain of the Special Patrol? It's getting hard to tell.
Neither. I'm requesting personal supervision from said captain, so I don't do anything too out of line.
Are you
Not if I can help it.
All right.
Follow me.
Huh? What's going on? Are they arguing?
That's besides the point. I'll ask you again. Why did you start...
You didn't need to say it. We've known each other for how long now?
And that gives you the right to make a decision.
Shortly after you left, the troop's lead actress came to the event. Excuse me, but can you...
Sorry. I was just dealing with a little misunderstanding.
Sadly, it's a no from her. We tried to persuade her, but...
I see. Well, you see, our leading lady has just informed me that she's well enough to make it to the show after all. Staging the musical with the
Oh, right! Sounds like everything worked itself out then. Yeah, she'd be livid.
Jeez, is Lady for real?
Only joking, calm down. So, despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still racking our brains for
Look, There's no point arguing. This is the last chance we have, though. If your illness flares... So, are you absolutely sure you'll be able to handle it? The whole team is...
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and it's working brilliantly. I'll definitely... I share everyone's desire to come... Every one of us thinks of this troop as their home.
You're right. I'm sorry.
All's well that ends well. Sounds like the show will go on. Sure.
Hey, how did you... I was just passing by because I realized I forgot a couple of... Alright, I'm coming. Hello?
Farina? Didn't you say you were...
I was just ever so slightly when you came to talk with me earlier, I jumped right to explaining my position and said, and all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's totally fine. Paimon didn't take any of that.
You really have a knack for asking them. I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly. But in any case...
Yeah, when they...
There's no need to think like that. I was wondering... If this troop is if the difficulties are purely financial, then there must be a solution. Everyone seems so devoted.
We all want to believe that, but everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director.
Her name was O'Reilly, and she was the founder.
What?
That's actually how I recognized these two. It was all thanks to their efforts that the true culprit was... But still...
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Lady... Miss Farina. They were what first she rallied many people. People loved our performances back then. We seemed to be going from strength to strength.
And then, does that...
Yeah. After that, none of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. We've been doing the best. It's agonizing. But ultimately...
Oh.
What a terrible waste. I suppose it's fair to say, then, that this final show...
Yes, exactly.
Well, good thing I followed the Traveler here. I know what you're thinking, but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. Besides, I can, however, but only if you feel this is a...
Oh, most definitely.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though.
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, something I've begun to realize since my departure from the opera Epicles, is that there's a lot you don't see when you observe everything. The law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human emotion. The court's verdict can settle the question of criminal liability. What about all the unresolved emotions of the parties involved? What happens to them? An interesting answer. Take, for example, how this troupe pines for their late director.
Still a fan of your old... You just want to get back in on the...
No. This is a complete...
The name's not Swan!
Would you be willing to join me? Come on, take a break from adventuring to listen to a story.
Thank you all so much. Our director was a huge... All right, follow me. We'll go to our usual practice space.
Just promise you'll start trying to keep yourself out of trouble.
Well, when trouble stops coming my way, I'll be sure to get on that. This should be the place.
You know, Chevraz, Paimon gets the sense that you...
It's just as Shiori said. We got to know...
Does Shiori often need...
I'd say it's mutual. The Special Patrol needs her help quite often as well. We've got tough problems of our own. Getting the uniform, the musket, they're intimidating. Most people clam up the minute they see us. Lips sealed so tight, getting them to talk almost feels like trying to break into the... But put them in a clothing boutique, and they suddenly start gushing faster than the water...
Oh, is it because they're trying to show off or something?
Yep. People are vain creatures. They can't help but want to talk up new developments in their lives, or show off how much they know. As a result, Shiori often picks up on all kinds of information in her shop. Most of her customers are members of the upper class, which means they're pretty much up to the gills in wealth and intel.
You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
Exactly. I'm also here to ensure Chiori's safety. Those who make trouble for her also tend to be rich and powerful. And in some very rare cases, I'm forced to protect other people from Chiori herself. So, who got on her case this time? It's been a while since I last saw her that angry.
Oh, so this is what...
Huh? ℂℓiℏ, you said?
You've heard of him?
Yep. He's made trouble for Chiori several times already. He's fond of pretty much every dirty so he's back at it, huh?
Whoa, what's this about a few...
I just meant that ℂℓiℏ's done for. Now bring it in, you two. Get... Because this is probably going to turn into one of those very rare...
What are you doing? Stay away from me!
Has anyone ever taught you the definition of stupidity?
Huh?
Stupidity is doing the same meaningless thing over and over again. It appears you've forgotten what I told you before. Oh, and if you dare lay your hands on my friend again...
Chief.
Officer, an assault!
Of course. I'll do my utmost to... Not to worry, though. If you'd allow me to search the scene, Ms. Chiori, I must also ask you to refrain from engaging in such...
Apologies, officer. I guess...
You...
Is there anything else either of you have to say?
That's all from me. I sincerely...
We'll see about that.
Whoa, that scared the heck out of Paimon! How did he...
You're too kind.
Now's not the time to be accepting compliments. What happened to not doing anything too
Oh, not if I could help it, is what I said. I started with a verbal warning, but he displayed neither shame nor remorse. If anything...
Insults and threats so bad that he deserved to be tossed out like a sack of trash?
Believe it or not, they were that bad. He deserved to get knocked down a peg. It's the only...
You could have reported him to the...
Oh, I will. But it'll take some time for them to gather evidence. And he denied that he ever had anything to do with those bandits. I don't want anything else to happen during Fontaine Fashion Week. On top of that, if Kirara is going to continue... Oh, that reminds me.
What a shame. I believe you.
Have I? Well, it's a good thing I was planning on taking an advance on tomorrow's quota then.
Don't you think you're maxed out?
I always pay you back in information. It's just like you said. You scratch...